Welcome to Labstream AI, where we dive into how AI is transforming the future of business. Today's guest is someone who truly embodies innovation and impact. Davida Ginter, is a 3x founder, 3 times founder, and currently co-founder and CEO of Eloo, an AI native company backed by Era, empowering GTM teams to build zero-code AI agents. What really stands out about Davida is her listen first, act fast approach to leadership and product development, a mindset that is more essential than ever in today's evolving AI landscape. Davida, I hope I said that name. I'm thrilled to have you here. Please correct me if it's the right way. Before we get into AI powered GTM and sales automation, can you please briefly introduce yourself and share a bit about your journey in founding Eloo?
Yeah, thanks for the warm welcome and a pleasure to be here. It's been quite a ride for many years as an entrepreneur, but especially in the passing years since there's such a leap in technology and everyone is talking AI agents. And we got really curious, my team and I got really curious to make this accessible to people, like really understanding what could we do, how can we unlock the potential with AI agents. So it was a natural place for us to start with go-to-market teams, but of course in our vision it goes way beyond that.
Yeah, no, I love your background. Reading about you, you've co-founded 3 companies. What is the common thread or mission that has tied all your ventures together?
Oh my God, curiosity, obviously. And for me, it's always about where is the biggest place to make an impact. So it has to be something I like, I enjoy doing. I, I think I can contribute, obviously, and make big enough impact. And it also needs to be enjoyable. I don't find any point in working on something that will make me bored. So it has to be this combination of meaning and where can I put my skills and strength into creating something meaningful.
Spoken from the true heart of an entrepreneur. Myself being one, I totally agree. I mean, work is a pleasure if you enjoy doing what you do. So you're so lucky to be in the
Yeah.
space that you love. So Eloo is pioneering no-code AI agents for go-to-market teams. What inspired this specific problem space?
So honestly, it's been my personal pain and experience that I really wanted to improve. So for example, in the previous startup, in the previous company, when we started stepping, through the growth stages, so it's always about how can we make it more efficient. We bootstrap the previous startup. So, it's a lean team. How can we move faster? So when AI in general and AI agents in particular were introduced, I thought this could be an amazing breakthrough. But then every time I tried utilizing one of those or building even something myself with vibe coding platforms, it was never good enough in a sense that it's never ready for production. It's always such an effort. So we're thinking we couldn't be the only one experiencing this pain, this need of making it easier for non-technical users. And this is truly what drove us to create a platform that makes building AI agents accessible for truly non-technical users.
That's brilliant. I mean, a lot of people think it's so easy to just put together, and like yourself, a perfectionist who wants to make sure everything is end to end right there. You're going to always find those gaps. And I think as an entrepreneur, your passion is to fill those gaps and let people use it in an easy way. I love that. Your philosophy of listen first and act fast is very refreshing. How has that shaped your leadership style and product strategy?
That's a good question. So, first of all, when we say listen first, act later, it means putting the ego aside. So, how we are, all of us, like you included, founders, entrepreneurs. We step in, we have this amazing idea, we very much attached to the idea. But if you can't truly listen to what the market is telling us, we'll keep failing because our ego tells us, no, we have the best idea out there, when really the market is telling us something a bit different. I don't know a single entrepreneur that brought in the idea, the fresh idea, the original one, and never had to iterate even a bit when truly listening to the market. So it's about really being open-minded to what users are telling us, to what customers are telling us, to what trends are telling us. And for me, the idea of listening is, first of all, to park the ego aside and understanding what we came here to do.
Totally. Yeah. Ego, pride, set it aside, roll up the sleeves, leave it at the door. I totally agree. Engineers like yourself, I mean, you're an engineer in your craft. A lot of people have what I call engineering syndrome, where it's perfect the way it is because in your little world it's perfect. But no, if you don't listen to hear what people are saying, you won't be able to fine tune and just make those little tweaks that make it perfect. I love that about you, and a lot of people don't understand how important that is to put that pride aside. As we gear into the topics of our conversation today, how do you see AI transforming go-to-market strategies compared to traditional methods?
Yeah, this is, I think, for me, one of the most interesting questions these days, because go-to-market is the core, is the essence of companies and missions, right? I love products, and at the same time, I know that even if we build the most beautiful needed product, if we don't take it to market, no one uses that. So when I say go-to-market as really the heart, the core of a company that's going big and wide, we've been talking to literally hundreds of go-to-market teams, like hundreds of head of marketing, head of sales, head of customer success, head of growth, right? And everyone gets so curious about how can we utilize AI to become more efficient, to reduce cost of acquisition, right? To reduce CAC. This is really important. How do we augment the team? And we've been involved in many interesting conversations around, could AI even replace the team? Or is it more about learning to work hand in hand with those AI agents? And I can tell you my personal view, and I know that most of our users and customers really can really relate to that. It's really not about replacing people. It's about augmenting teams, augmenting professional people. So when we take an AI agent and we train it to do the mundane work, to replace everything in the workflow that could be taken at scale, that leaves us human to deal with human-to-human interaction. So if I'm letting an AI agent doing the the research for me, logging the details, documentation, building lists, reaching out, but then I'm taking on with the human interaction, talking to my customers, talking to my users. This is for me the perfect combination, and this is where we see our users thrive when they find this beautiful combination there.
Yes, the human touch is absolutely needed with AI. AI is really like an assistant to help you do things better, but the human touch without it, I think it misses the mark. And well said. What's the biggest misconception founders have about implementing AI in their sales workflows, in your opinion?
The biggest misconception that I see is that, well, there are a few.
Yeah.
One of them that building an agent with, for example, GPT or just connecting some dots is easy. The reason I'm saying it's a misconception, because you can say, well, it's really easy to build your own ChatGPT, right? But at the same time, it doesn't take you that far. This would be too simplistic. So that means that if it takes you just an hour to build something like that, it also means that the ROI doesn't worth it. It means that it won't take you to the needed KPIs that you need to hit. And when users say, okay, so we just go and build something more complex, and what's the problem? We'll just do some, vibe coding and stuff like that. It takes them over weeks, and they need to bring in the developer and the data analyst. So those two misconceptions, it's too easy, but then it lacks the depth, as opposed to, okay, so it's not easy, but how long will it take us? the intersection within two misconceptions, that's what drove us to basically build something that enables users to build something which is more complex, with more depth, that you can measure ROI, that gets you to where you need to be, but at the same time doesn't require you to get the entire engineering team involved in the process. And that's quite a mission there.
Just getting deep enough to where the ROI is measurable.
Exactly.
Whereas it's like if you do just doing this quick thing, it's not there. I get that, and I think if you can connect those dots in an easy fashion, like Eloo's doing, it makes it easy. I mean, I was on your website. Very interesting how you're doing that. Can you walk us through a recent use case where AI agents significantly improved a go-to-market team's efficiency?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There are so many. One of my favorites, and this is the fun part about what I love about Eloo, I don't have to come up with the ideas. The ideas are of our customers. I'm the enabler,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So I can give them full credit about those use cases. So one of my favorites is an agentic workflow being built by one of our customers. He's head of growth at a company. It's a digital health tech company doing very well, very successful. And he said, well, we are running all those different campaigns and customer touch points. So not just paid campaigns, we have those different customers' journeys. And even though everything is documented in our CRM, both in HubSpot and Salesforce and here and there, we have little idea which path is performing the best. So he said, I either need to do this manually, like every week collecting all these data points, analyze this in Excel, or I'm losing track. And if they don't know which customer journey is performing the best, they don't know what to double down on and what to eliminate. So they have built an entire agentic workflow with Eloo that basically takes all those different data points, and we're talking about tens of thousands of data points from their systems, to analyze performance of the customer journey and touch points, which gets them really fast to daily insights. Oh, so when we're doing paid customer demo touchpoint with ICP-A versus organic touchpoint with ICP-B, that means that, and they get to insight so fast this way that the entire go-to-market motion is now being impacted by those insights.
Yeah, and the way you orchestrate, like an orchestrator for a symphony, I can feel that it's a symphony of orchestration between all the different data points, and you actually are
Right.
putting that together. It's beautiful. I think just being able to orchestrate that simultaneously, it's overwhelming. You almost have to take a step back. So you almost have to automate it because there's so many moving parts and so much data that's getting aggregated in. How do you parse it? What's valuable? What's converting? What do you nurture more? And where do you pivot to improve? And I think that's what Elo's doing, right? Is answering those questions in the customer journey.
Exactly. And usually what's most challenging for people who just get started with building AI agents is to describe what is that they need. Because think about it, it's not that natural to say, oh, we just need an agent, what's the problem? But it doesn't exactly work like that. So the best way that we have found to work in building those AI agents is to treat them like you just hired a junior analyst, you just hired a junior marketer, you just hired someone for your team. So when you hire someone new, you don't just go and tell them, all right, go and get these KPIs, I'll be waiting here, right? You explain them. You give them some examples, right? You feed them with some examples, you explain the goal, you might give them some directions, and then they will come back with the initial result, and you're going to say, all right, so this is good, this is not so much, this is totally off. So you keep instructing them, you iterate, you send them for another round, they go back until you're happy with the result. Very, very similar way to work with building and structuring AI agents that work for you. So too broad, you get a result that will not satisfy you. Too detailed, you don't give the agent an agency, right? So it's like starting to understand the idea of exactly how you would coach or train a junior in your team, you will start doing this with AI agents, and suddenly they start to augment your work. Right? So less frustration, better results.
Well said. I think that balance and using AI to bring that neutralization down so everything connects is brilliant. How can early stage software as a service companies or fintech founders start automating sales processes without over engineering?
So that's a good question. It really depends on the complexity. If they need something totally complex, it will require some engineering. But the good news is that today, to do engineering, you don't have to know how to write code. So for example, I never learned how to write code. I taught myself a bit. I vibe code a lot, like
The true genius.
daily.
The true geniuses code themselves and learn themselves. So there's
I just learn a bit. But here's the fun part. When we say engineering today, it's really more about understanding algorithms and processes. So if you can describe, first understand and then describe what is the DNA, this is a big part of engineering. And then today, when you don't have to write code, right, you can engineer your way to the result, like describe what you need, sketch it. I like to start with a piece of paper. This is always, I have this
best.
pencil, always. And only then I will go and I start engineering that in one way or another. So I think the best way for either early stage or early growth companies to start building, as you ask, or engineer that, is really to first ideate on the ideal flow, maybe sketch it, maybe define it in words, doesn't matter, until you have a realization of the process. Then let the agent execute this for you.
Grab the piece of paper, write it down. Don't care how ugly it is. Doesn't need to be Picasso.
Yeah.
Just get it on paper so you can start. I love the ideation. I mean,
It's clarity, right? When we write or when we ideate something, it brings a lot of clarity to the table.
For sure. What role do you think AI should not play in sales and go to markets, where the human should still lead the effort?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some criticism about it, and I don't care. I don't think that AI should replace human interaction in the process of discovery and sales. And I'll explain why. I know everyone is now preaching, you don't hire human, right? And I don't believe in that, and I tell you why. I mean, that's my agenda. I'm not afraid to say that. The way I see it is that discovery is more than collecting answers to a checklist of questions. Discovery is a lot of human psychology, to understand what's going on underneath, the spoken words. So I don't know what's going to happen in a few years' time, what will be the capabilities of AI. I don't see AI today can replace the human intelligence of doing really deep discovery when you're trying to understand a problem, an objection, anything that is it's subtle enough that you need the human touch here. So that's one.
Absolutely.
Right?
Totally agree.
And when it comes to sales, I would prefer to use an AI agent to assist me with many things. Create the proposal for me, the sales asset, summarize the call for me. Great. I want to handle the interaction. I want to handle the conversation. I want to understand what the person really needs. Otherwise, sales process becomes a transactional interaction, and that's not the way I like to do sales. I like to understand my customers. I like to give them good service. AI should help me, not replace me with that.
Totally. I totally agree. AI will never replace the high level coders, maybe low level when you're doing like,
Right.
unit testing, that kind of stuff. But I don't think the intelligence part, I mean, that's the thing. AI is only as good as you feed the data to it. So it can never think like you or I, and it can never ideate, anything because it doesn't understand how to solve problems. So it's that human touch is an absolute must. As we wind down to the final question of our podcast today, as more companies adopt AI native tooling, right? How do you see the balance shifting between a product-led and sales-led growth?
So probably again it depends on the type of the product. I believe that AI could actually shorten the way for products to become product-led growth motion driven. So that's true. AI could definitely shorten the way to get there, because the better the tools become, for example, onboarding, demo, the better they become, the more AI could serve those parts. That means that there's lower barrier for adoption, which increases the chances of good PLG motion. There's a caveat to that, which is around, again, if there is complexity, and with some products, even at ours, at some points it will be, we need a human in the loop for the interaction, for the support, and this is where sales becomes central again, as I said before, with the interaction. So I would say again, it depends. However, AI could definitely take on the missions to shorten those cycles. So it's really not about, maybe a better way to say it, it's not about replacing the sales motion, as it is about shortening those cycles and drive some parts that previously could only be sales led become more PLG led.
Davida, this has been a fantastic conversation. Your insights into building practical no-code AI solutions for go-to-market teams are not only timely, but deeply actionable. And to our listeners, if you're thinking about how to scale smarter, not just harder, this episode is your blueprint. Make sure to check out Davida's work at Eloo.ai. And if you like this episode, subscribe and share Labstream AI for more conversations at the edge of tech and strategy. Thank you for joining. And from Tel Aviv, Davida.
Thank you.
Thank you.